Welcome to Wake Up Excited, a podcast about living a creative and fulfilling life. I'm Brad Frost, and in this episode, I had the pleasure of talking with Mike Rybachuk. Mike is the founder of the Projector Institute, which is a design education platform based in Ukraine. I first chatted with Mike about doing a workshop with his organization, and it immediately became clear that Mike is both enormously passionate and enormously positive. And while Mike lives in Prague now, he's from Ukraine, and his family, his business, his colleagues, his friends, his life are all still based in Ukraine. And that's why I wanted to talk to Mike, because I wanted to learn how Mike can lead a positive, optimistic, and happy life despite an atrocious war terrorizing his country, his family, and his friends. So I'm really pleased with our conversation because we got to dive into that amongst a bunch of other things, including free and cheap ways to change your environment and spread positivity to others, the importance of self-honesty, introspection, and personal responsibility, clear communication and healthy relationships, Ukrainian resilience in living fully during wartime, and also helping other people from where you're at with what you have available to you. So before we dive into the conversation, I just want to remind everybody that Wake Up Excited is a totally self-funded endeavor. And so if you want to support the show, if you want to support me and my family, I'd love it if you checked out our online courses at bradfrost.com/courses. We have courses on design tokens, atomic design, and a brand new course that we're developing called AI and Design Systems, where we teach people how to use AI and the sturdy ingredients of your design system together to make great websites, apps, and more. So again, I'd love it if you checked it out at bradfrost.com/courses, and you could use the code WakeUpExcited to get 15% off. All right, with that out of the way, here's my conversation with Mike Rybachuk. Hey, Mike, what has you waking up excited today?
Today, because I thought that you will ask about like in general, but today, the sun, the summer, the new travel, and also I think that Friday is in 3 days.
Already looking ahead to the end of the week, but yeah, it looks freaking beautiful where you're at. Where are you right now?
I'm in Prague, in the city center, close to the city center, in 3 minutes from my home. I forgot to take the skateboarding because I thought that after this event, I will go to skateboard because I'm training here. I started only last year, but I forgot, but it's really close. That's why I think that I will come back and pick it up.
You just started skateboarding last year?
Last year, yeah, I'm 40, almost 40 years old, and I started skateboarding only last year. And it's pretty tough because I see all these youngsters and I can't find the friends of my age. And I'm really scared and I can't stretch and I'm always scared to fall down. But at the same time, I'm doing my best, and I already jump over the crack on the road. That's why I think that the progress is slow, but it's coming.
That's amazing. What got you into skateboarding? Like, how did you pick that up at almost 40?
I don't know. I was always rollerblading, so I jump over the ramps and started. I think that since I was 11, but then I just decided these guys look much cooler on skateboard. Maybe I have to try that because I never tried. So I always said like, no, rollerblades are much better. That's why maybe I don't want the skateboard. But then I just decided why I look like them usually. And I was like, maybe I have to try. And now I really like it. I forgot where are my rollerblades at home. So I just decided to do that. Oh, and also I never saw in Prague any guys rollerblading. So I saw only guys who are skateboarding. But then I got to the trap because, as I said, so they're only kids. Every time when I'm without skateboarding, I see cool guys, but I come to them and they are from Britain, they are tourists, or they are Czech, and they don't want to talk to me, or they're kids. So I don't know, I'm just not lucky so far, but I think that I'm waiting for the moment when I will get a bit more professional, a bit more confident, and I will go to skate park, to the heart of this hell, and I will talk to all of them and say like, yeah, now teach me. I even try to go to some lessons, but they don't reply me. I think that just because I speak in English here.
I love it. You're like willing this into existence, and you're like, this looks cool. This looks fun. I want to do
Why
this.
not?
It's beautiful.
Even now I spend the time. So usually when I think that started from the middle of May, so I wear more clothes, but now it's, I think that about 32 degrees Celsius. I think that in the US, it's not the same. I still don't understand how to calculate this Fahrenheit. And I think that I told you that I also have hammock and I have these foldable chairs started from this year. And I have the second hammock because the first one I left on the yacht, which I visit once per year. And usually a lot of my friends or my colleagues, they say, oh, you live the life because you work outside. The chair is $25. Power bank for 5 hours capacity, I think that it's $100. And hammock, it's $15. And come on. And you just go outside and work. Why can't you do the same? And I'm just so surprised. Oh, actually, we have to do that. Just start doing that. Do you think that they will do that? I don't think so. They will be waiting, cry.
It's amazing how just getting outside, especially for people that do work on computers, it is absolutely a game changer. Like you're saying, it's very easy to do. You just kind of need to venture outside. You need to find a little bit of quiet. You need to find a little bit of nature. You need internet connection, and you need a power source. And
I just sit in front of the cars. Okay, it's not the best place. I just had the time to come here. I always also ask people like, do you have the park in your city? Which is rhetorical question for sure. But they say, yeah, actually, yeah, and it's not that far from my place. Oh, so go. And I think that it's amazing because it's like small vacation and and if you choose something, so you can combine. So for example, I go to my favorite place, which is close. So it's big park with two amazing trees and it's really close to beer garden, my favorite beer garden. So I have motivation to finish my work. And after that, I go to this beer garden and I can already invite my friends at the time when I finish my work. So it's like combination of everything and it's motivation. I'm so struggling during the winter time that I can't do that, but I do my best to finish it in late October or something.
that's amazing. I think that you're touching on a lot of really important things that all tie together. One of the things that people tend to get sort of confused by maybe is that it's like, oh yes, I need to work and then have my nature time and then have my friend time and have, leisure and beer like another time. And it's all very like kind of segmented. And it sounds like you're just like kind of balling it all together and making it all work for you.
Because it's the life. It's the life. It's not linear and you can predict the next moment. But actually, you just reminded me one thing. Recently, we organized with my wife some workshop, just free workshop of our community in Prague. And it was the first 3-star review in our life because the guy said we had some workshop with brainstorming about some solutions for some problems which are everywhere for people who live in Prague and so on. And it was like design management workshop. It was strange. So I really like feedbacks and I do not complain about him. But his complaint was that when people will stop think that the job should be fun, it was like close to the like why did you make it so cool and fun when we try to solve some problems? I was like, okay, should we struggle? I'm really happy that at the end of this message, he texted like, I hope to see some progress next time. So I will have the chance to ask him in person. What did he mean particularly? Because I think that maybe there is some point, but why can't you, if you have the really good result at the end, why can't you make the process fun? I don't understand that. But again, it's the feedback.
This is exactly why you're here. And this is exactly like the nature of this conversation, because that question, why can't this be fun, is, I think, at the heart of the spirit of the show, but also, quite frankly, like the spirit of life, which is, why can't this be fun? who says that we can't do important things, solve important problems, picket things, deal with hard things, etc., but also have fun along the way?
Oh, but and now I know one guy who wouldn't watch and listen to this show. That guy who put 3 stars
Yeah.
earlier.
I don't want you to get a 1-star review, so maybe we'll refrain from sharing it with us. But I'll go out on a limb and say that there are people who, and I'm sure you've encountered them, where it's like, this is serious business. I take myself seriously. Like, I care about my craft, or I care about the job that I'm doing. And everyone in the world wants to feel like they're doing important and meaningful work. And I could see how some people might receive the fun as kind of diminishing the importance of the task at hand, or to say like, no, like, this is, focus, or like, this is a distraction, right? And I could understand that intellectually, but
Yes.
like at the sort of like soul level, and the fun, or like the positive part of this, is really the engine that allows for the hard work to take place.
Look, I think that our life, and we have to admit that our life is not that easy to live in, especially with all of these restrictions, rules, society rules. But at the same time, first of all, we remember Ikigai from Japan. I think that it's amazing. I think that it's one of the best philosophies or cultural codes, if you can say that, which allows to understand that you can get the joy of the stuff, which could be hard for most of the people. The hardest part in this field is to find this skill which fits you and
Mhm.
follow this. It doesn't say that it will be easy for you because it's your stuff. No, but you will get joy, so it will be easy. Yeah. But at the same time, the life is really hard. And I think that most of us, at least those who would like to get that joy and less struggle less because of the life, I think that we put a lot of effort to change our life, to find the fields which will bring us, I don't know, like less work or more money or freedom or everything, or girls, boys, I don't know, like something which will make this life better, especially meanwhile when the sun is not in the sky, or like covered by the clouds. So maybe when we are there, maybe there is the time for us to stop somewhere and to get the joy of that. Because sometimes some people, I saw that among some friends of my parents, even my parents, I see a lot of, and some strange people from like who surrounds me, older. Sometimes they run through whole the life which they have, and they do not stop, and they just can't. They just don't understand that if they will be only running, they will miss everything.
Yes.
So maybe this balance, because now it's pretty vulgar when people say like, "Oh, work-life balance," especially in US. I don't think that you have this work-life balance. Most of the people, most of the employees in Europe, it's much better. But at the same time, I think that at least somehow you can find this. You don't need to only to work to get money and then think how can you pay taxes, but just like find this, like go outside, and maybe with this sun you will work not only for money but also for sun.
Yes. I think that's so accurate. I think I learned something in sort of noticing older generations, where I'm like, oh, that age doesn't necessarily translate to wisdom, because I've encountered the exact same thing. It's like, the people who were running and I'll be happy when, and once I retire, then I will be able to do that. And I unfortunately, as like a like big lesson, but a couple important people in my life, they reached that retirement milestone and then died shortly thereafter. They reached that finish line that they were running so hard to make it over, and then there it was. And so yeah, so I think that your lesson is very important, is kind of finding those ways to claim joy and to weave that into your every day. And it's not some pie in the sky thing. It's like a very, very practical thing. And you're doing it literally right this second, which is you could have taken this call in a drywall room, like with fluorescent lighting, and you could have been inside, and you instead said, I'm going to take this conversation out in the park and enjoy sun because it's shining. But I think that people just need to be reminded that there are ways to sort of like reflect on how you're moving through your workday, how you're moving through your evenings and stuff. Are there opportunities to integrate more fun and positivity like into your day? And that doesn't necessarily translate to you need to hire a clown or go to a stand-up comedy show every night. But it's just like, what are those like really just subtle, mundane things that you can do to just kind of make your day more pleasant?
But I think that people are scared to get this joy. I would mention two things. First, it's about priorities, because when people say, oh, I don't have time for that. Come on. We have equal amount of time for each of us. This is the stuff which is equal for everyone. It doesn't matter what is the color of your skin, what is your age, where do you live, it doesn't matter. 24 hours per day. We established that. It doesn't matter where do you live, we established. So everything else is just about priorities.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some occasions and some people who have less opportunities to move and so on and so forth. But at the same time, when we talk about most of the people who go to work, who go to gym, they choose where to go. Like, oh, I didn't have time to come to your event. You didn't have priority to come to your event. So sometimes people just don't want to do that because they're scared that, first of all, they will like it, and next time it will be much harder for them to get this joy. And second, they just are scared that they will like it. They will like, oh, what if then I can struggle less? What I will say to other people, I can't complain to some other people. What will I say? I enjoyed the walk through the park. And they will say like, oh, you are so lucky. Can you imagine? We are laughing on that, but a lot of people, some of them even understand that because they experience this part of their life, this occasion, this situation, everything. But they are scared, and it's much easier, like turtle, to go back to this home, protected from the world, and struggle again.
Yeah.
Do you know these events when people meet and all of them complain, and they really like to meet with these complaining people because it's like the new universe for complaining, instead of finding the way to meet and to surround yourself by people who enjoy the life. It's insane. Have you noticed that there are plenty of these communities?
Oh yeah, 100%. And there's real value, and there's certainly a time and a place to commiserate with people who are like-minded. I think it's important to sort of note that it's like, I think that what you're saying is it's like, it's not that the work isn't hard or that life doesn't have hardships and that like we should all just be sort of like tiptoeing through the tulips. There is a threshold that gets crossed where it's like commiserating turns into kind of more of a permanent attitude around things, and that becomes like the only lens by which people feel like they can sort of like talk about things. And like when I used to live in New York City, and that was the thing, that people would just be grinding and working 70, 80 hours a week, and then people would go to the bar afterwards and they'd say hey, how was your week? And I worked 80 hours this week, and the next person would just be like, oh, only 80 hours, huh? Like that must be nice. It was like a competitive sport or something, but it was all just this, like kind of aggrieved. And I get it. People need to be able to like vent and stuff, but it's like in those moments, I feel like even at that time, I was like, well, this is a weird game we're playing here, because like
crazy.
Why are we shouldn't be extolling this lifestyle. We should be like, what's all this for?
It just happened just not to run too far from that. Why I was waving, as I said, so there is just the road next to me, and there was the van with some people with I think that from Germany, and the guy was waving from the window to me, and it's so I think that to drop a few drops of positivity to your life, it's so easy because it just reminded me sometimes we have some picnic or some grill party next to the bridge with railways. Trains are just passing by, and I usually when I see the train, I wave. It doesn't matter for me, will someone see me or not, but I remember that it happened to me a few times when I was in the train. I was thinking about something. I was busy. I was maybe even sad, maybe not, but it doesn't matter. But I was somewhere inside of me at the moment when everything was happening around me. So, and some people were waving, some kids next to this railway. They were just waving to me, and something good appeared in my heart. And since that moment, I started doing the same. Not with some bad gestures on my fingers. No. And now the guy was waving, I waved back, and he was smiling. He went to the parents and like, oh, the guy is waving. It happened just 1 minute ago. So do we need something extra to make some people happy and us ourselves? I don't think so.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Oh, your $25 chair, hold up in a park, waving, returning the wave, making that human connection. Your days just got a little bit better as a part of it. And it's really that simple.
We can finish this show. That's it.
These very, very simple things. And there's simple decisions to make. The decision to smile versus not, the decision to wave versus not. These are not expensive. This is not, giant sacrifice. This is not whatever. But these are these really, really mundane, everyday things that, when taken in aggregate, absolutely elevate your life, like your entire life. Like you can look back, it's like, going to the grocery store doesn't need to be a giant chore if you like find the way to sort of like have a human connection with somebody there. And like certainly in like the US, it's like the difference is quite stark between Europe and the US in many ways, but it's like going there as like a lot of the people working there, you could just tell they're pretty beaten up, beaten down, beaten up. They're just like at the till, just kind of feeling pretty solemn and stuff. And I like to take those things as little missions or whatever to just like really try to remind them that it's like this isn't just another person that's going to yell at them about, the price of a box of cereal or something. But like there are these opportunities to make these connections. And I would hope that I'm kind of like helping them along in their day, the same as they're helping me along in my day. So,
but also I think that we should start also with ourselves, because a lot of people, they say like, okay, I act like that, but the social life is like that, and some people around me, they're like that. But maybe we should be not even the example to other people, but just like start with yourself. Just try to build this wall around, like surrounding yourself, just to protect your thoughts. Because we always try to focus on someone else and forget about ourselves.
Yeah.
And we try to rely all the responsibility to them. But maybe let's stop thinking about some other people. Not in meaning that, now I will be doing all this stuff, I'm the best. No, but just like focus on yourself. What do you want to be like? And you wouldn't recognize yourself in some time. If you see that someone acts differently, and these actions you don't like, and this attitude you don't like, just try not to do the same. Just try not to focus. And if something is happening, just don't follow that. That's it. Just start thinking positively. And I think that, okay, it wouldn't happen that next day you will be happy. But in some period of time, if you will start doing that, and as you said, so for example, if you go to the store, if you would like to add, if you have some bad mood, just listen to something in your headphones and just support yourself with some additional things. For example, I don't recommend that because some people, alcohol is not. I don't think that beer is alcohol. Let's start with that. It's the brew and pros and so on.
It
Because
sounds like you're speaking from Prague right now. Yeah.
yes, I do. I do. I think that beer is one of the best things invented by humanity, especially Czech beer. But at the same time, so I wouldn't recommend that. But at the same time, I really like, for example, I have some sort of meditation. I'm in marriage for 17 years. So,
Yeah.
and we were so close always with my wife. We don't have kids. That's why we focus on ourselves. We spend time. So we are in young kind of. But at the same time, we spend sometimes too much time, and I'm nervous because I just discovered recently, a few years ago, that sometimes I'm nervous when she's close to me because I'm responsible for her, and I think, what should we do? And when she's, I don't know, somewhere on business trip on something for a few days, I feel relaxed, I sleep better, and so on. And I just discovered, for me, before it was so hard to even proclaim that to myself. And so, like, maybe I have to spend some time only with myself for 1 hour per week. And I said, like, maybe is it okay? What do you think about that? If I will go outside and I will have just walk with some podcast in my ears, so maybe I will sit to drink some coffee, some beer or something, to talk to myself, to listen to myself. Every single time I come back so relief, let's say. I
Yes.
just communicated to myself, I answered. But also, why I started at this, because I really like the, I don't know which state they are from, but this podcast on Spotify, it's, I think that ninjas are butterflies. It's amazing. These guys, they are just doing some crazy, these talks almost about nothing, but they laugh a lot. They sing the songs. They do some talks about UFO, about some even politics, but just really light. They laugh a lot. They invite some guests, and it helps me to. I laugh out loud when I walk by the streets. I'm not scared. It's at the beginning when I started this practice. I was like, ha ha ha, and then like, oh, some people could listen to me and they can hear me. And then now I'm laughing out
Yeah.
loud. If some people will think that I'm crazy, why do I need to care? Till the moment that I understand that I'm really disturbing their life. I'm not doing that in the tram, and I don't do that really loud, but it helps me to relieve everything. So that's why I really highly recommend you not to avoid anything and not to focus on some negative stuff which is happening and trying to explain. It's really important to explain why it's happening, but also to try to bring some positive stuff to your life to
Yeah.
support you, to let you feel that you are not alone, and also to surround yourself with the people who will not only support you, but who you feel that you will live positive life with.
Yes.
It's really important.
Yes. Yeah. You covered a lot of ground there, and I think
Sorry.
no. That was great because there's a bunch of stuff there. There's like there's like a committed relationship, which congratulations on 17 years. That's amazing. And in 10 days,
Thanks.
I will be celebrating 16 years with my wife as well. So it's like great, but like I think a healthy relationship, you realize it's like, oh yeah, you need time to live your own life and reconnect with yourself. And I see this on full display anytime. We have one daughter, but a lot of my are friends of similar age that ended up having like multiple kids. They're like still in it. They're still in like the, changing the diapers, but then they also have like an energetic, 5, 6, 7 year old like running around. And when I get to see them on like these rare moments where like we went to a concert with a friend who has just been, when they're with their family, they're on the clock. You know what I mean? Like they are, like you were saying, it's like you're worried about, you're thinking about, you're sort of like, you care about the other person, and then sort of going to a concert with the same friend, and like they're finally like out, and you could just almost like see their battery getting charged, like kind of reconnecting with yourself, that your relationships are really important. And I think you touch on that really well, and like who you're surrounding yourself with. that going inwards and to really like kind of focus on just like putting your own foundation in place is really a prerequisite for being able to show up in the world and show up to the people in your life.
But I think that because now we talk so positively about being with yourself and realizing who you are and so on, let's be frank that it's not that easy. And I think that it requires some maturity. The person should be mature. And it's not that sometimes you pass by when you start communicating to yourself. Sometimes you come to the conclusion that not everything is that bright and rainbowish in the life. Because you start answering the question that the life is not the circus, the life is not the playground, the life is not that. That's why I'm talking about that, because 5 years ago, no, 6 years ago, but it took 5 years for me. I don't know, out of blue, I just said to myself, I would like to spend the next 5 years trying to become honest with myself. Just like that, without any other conditions, without any other explanations. Why I like that? Because the statement and this question and this like task is self-explanatory by itself. I don't think that it will work for other tasks, but this one, if you are after 5 years and you say, like, haha, I'm honest, and you feel that you are lying, you didn't accomplish that. And it gave me so much in this life, these 5 years. Just try to do that. Did it make me happier? Nope. Nope. No. It brought me to many answers to many questions which I didn't ask. They just popped up in my life for these 5 years. And I just discovered that life it's cool. It's fun, but at the same time, it's rough, and it's not the stuff which is shown in old sweet movies. And second stuff is that I became buzzkill. So I became like now I ask a lot of questions, and sometimes I not cancel, but I just decline. Look, people wave to me. You see that I don't know why it's happening, but I just sit in front of the road and people are waving to me. It wouldn't happen if I would stay at home, actually. Yeah, now I just ask the questions, but let's skip this boring stuff. So the main part which I want to say that you have to start talking to yourself. There will be some point when you will start answering. So it's not just go and drink with yourself, become the alcoholic and say that other people don't understand you because you are unique. Each of us are unique. So we are unique. But at the same time, just talk to yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you are not honest to yourself, how can you be the part of this society? And when you become honest to yourself, you have less problems with other people because you don't rely on them some of your problems. You don't try to find some basement from their side, and you stop complaining. You complain less. Let's do it in this way. But you complain less, you blame them less, you work on yourself, which brings you to less problems because you think less about some problems. You consider them not as the problem. You try to solve them. You think about different stuff. You reject some connections which are sour. You start focusing more on people who bring something new to you. You start living by Socrates when you would like to appear as the stupidest person in the room, just to surround yourself with your new knowledge, with new emotions and so on, which is amazing, I think.
Oh my God. So you said that this was like unprompted, or like, was there something that culminated in you 5 years ago going, I need to
It just appeared in my head. It was like, why not? Why not? And I just started.
One, that's amazing that just kind of like materialized. But two, I think that you are 100% accurate, that it's like you need to be honest with yourself in order to, one, get yourself grounded and to be able to better understand yourself, warts and all, right? It takes a lot of courage and a lot of vulnerability to be like, oh, I'm deficient in these areas, or I'm like too strong-minded, or like I do this and I notice this that is like not necessarily like a positive quality, right? It's hard work to get to that point where you're able to sort of like sit with that, but it's very liberating because you then are able to work on it. I recently read the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. He had these virtues that he identified as like the ways that he is going to live his life. He'd keep a daily journal. He would work on one thing at a time. So he'd work on temperance, for instance, as a virtue. And every day in his journal, he would like mark down all of like the things that he did that kind of went against this virtue, or like really kind of tracking his progress and like, did I live according to, this virtue of temperance, and he'd have like a tally. And he would like go, I think it was like a whole month or maybe like even a couple months before moving on to like, he would need to have the tallies of the day before he moved on to the next thing. But it's like, I found that fascinating because it's like, one, you have to be honest with yourself to arrive at that, to go, oh, I got some work to do here. And I think that he tells the story of whenever he was young, somebody was like, you're really smart, but like you are very prideful and you think you're the shit, effectively. I'm paraphrasing here, right? This is the 1700s or whatever. But he was like, rather than him getting defensive about that, he's like, got it. And he like took that to heart and like freaking bullet journaled that stuff, like, until I found that I like kind of like knocked that out of my system. And I love that. Like, and it sounds like it's kind of like your journey is like, you got to be honest with yourself, which involves confronting things, which is hard and scary for many, many people, for all of us, really. But once you get close to it and you're able to sort of like sit with it and live with it, then you're able to start doing like more the actual work of self-improvement.
Yeah, but like I think that it's the most, I would like to highlight the part which you said, self, because what was the first, and I remember it like it was yesterday, but it was 6 years ago. The first, as I remember, the first significant highlight for me during this journey to be to the honesty, self honesty, it appeared that I just deeply realized the difference between subjective and objective. About if we are talking about our thoughts. And when I discovered that I focus much more on stuff which I consider as objective and like thoughts about some other people, they are just subjective and they do not make any sense because they are just in one head and usually without deep thought and arguments regarding that. And even much more important, that do you need to think about this person who wear, I don't know, some leopard shorts, and you think like person is without taste? How does it reflect on your life? Just skip this and think, why it disturbed you? And focus on the stuff which you can change in yourself, regarding thoughts about yourself, regarding the things which stress you, because it will bring you value straight ahead, because there is no stress if you not push it inside, but you just realize that, does it make any sense to feel stress here in this moment, or it's just some stuff which appeared in my childhood or with my parents or with my first relationship and so on. And when you fix that, because you understand that it does not make any sense because you can change that, it does not make any sense because it was in the past or something, you just feel huge relief. And even more, that in the future you wouldn't feel that, and even more, instead of feeling sour, you feel sad, you will feel joy, because this particular piece of time you will spend for something better, because you will choose another path. That's it. That's what it will bring you to.
Yep. No, that's beautiful. It's that kind of dwelling on the past, and I think a lot of people kind of stay there. They're like, oh, I've had a lot of hard in my life, and I think that there's like a real, what Buddhism calls kind of like attachment to it, which is just like, oh yeah, like these things happened, or this hard thing is there, and they're kind of like attached to it, largely in the sense of like, I think like wanting to be seen and wanting to sort of like be valuable, or like be perceived as value. Oh wow, like look at this person, they've like been through some hard stuff and they're telling themselves that story. It's like, oh yeah, like this, it's important to acknowledge it. It is important to hold it as true. You know, we've all had our different paths in life and ups and downs and the rest of it. But it's, I think that what you said is beautiful, which is like, yep, that stuff is there, but here is this moment, and this moment is an opportunity to is a new moment. You are not beholden to the past. You can do whatever you want from wherever you're at. Your journey in life up until this moment does not dictate, you know, what you can get into in this second, which is, I think, very freeing. It is very, very freeing, but it requires that kind of, again, processing your past, getting to know yourself, like how it's kind of like shaped you and your behavior, working through that shit. So then you're able to sort of like be more present and to be more forward looking than kind of past looking.
Yeah, but like, again, I just want to highlight to all of the people, if there will be any people who will listen to us, but at the same time, I mean, it sounds really positive and it sounds like, guys, just do that and it will work. No, it's huge work to do. It's like, it's huge and it takes some time. It takes a lot of emotions. It takes a lot of fight with yourself. But at the same time, it brings the value. And for example, let's talk about fear or just emotions in general. Some people think that, oh, they are scared of to be scared, right? So they don't like fear as it is. But once I discovered that it's wrong attitude. So what is fear? It's just another emotion which is brought to us by our ancestors. And so it just came from the past and it's just reflection of something and it's reflex. Let's focus on that, which means that it's the signal to something, nor not more, not less. So it's the signal to something. So we have to take it as the signal. So we have to pay attention to that. For example, now I have students, right? And or like some colleagues who would like to start something. I ask them, organize some event. And they're like, oh, we're so scared. Why you are scared? We are scared that no one will come to this event. But did you announce this event? No. Did you already publish it? No. Did it happen and no one came? No. So take this signal of your fear and use it as the sail instead. So don't let it push you back, but use it to push you forward. How? So we have the methodology. For example, I'm designer, so we have methodology. How might we? So I'm scared that no one will come. How might I avoid this situation and let this event be everywhere and let be people interested in this event and make it happen for a lot of people. That's it. The same with other emotions. So for example, when I have some fight, some argue with my wife, I feel stress. For example, she said something, I feel stress. A lot of people, what do? They react on that by action. So they are stressed and they use and they say, like, oh, they even say it's like, oh, logical reason why you shouted on me. I was stressed. Okay, but it's not the reason. You use this as the reason. You used it like that, but you have another way. You can stop and just for those people who feel that we are talking currently about them, that they are stressed and they shout. They use it as like excuse. No, just try to do really simple stuff. You feel stress before answering to your opponent. Just count to 3. Just do that. And then if it will happen that you will say some some really rude stuff. Okay, it didn't happen to you, but let's do that few times in the future. You will see that sooner or later, most probably starting from the first attempt, you will get the result. So use these emotions only like the trigger to stop and think, even to stop and think what you will do next. But later, come back to this situation and analyze why it made you stressed. Because there are plenty of people who would not be stressed by the same phrase said to them,
Yeah.
which means that it's about you, not the phrase, and definitely not even the person. If someone will tell me that I'm stupid, I could get stressed. But I could ask this person, why do you think, really normally, calmly, why do you think that I'm stupid?
Yeah.
I could ignore that because I would think that I'm not stupid. So there are so plenty of ways how to solve that. In my case, I would not be stressed because I would just ask if I feel that this person could bring me some rational explanation why he thinks or she thinks that I'm stupid. It's cool because I will get something which I can see, and if it will be rational, it will make me better. I don't need to make some excuse or some beef with this person. Oh, you are stupid. You know what? You are stupid. What will it bring to my life? It won't solve anything.
Yeah.
Instead, I can solve that. Or if this person will bring some really waterish explanation, okay, I will understand that it does not make any sense and this person is just bullshitting with me. So
Yes.
you are the person who think what to do with your life and how to act every single moment. And it's your responsibility, not the person who is stressing you is guilty. No, you are guilty that you are stressing every single next time. Each of us can make the mistake, but to repeat the same mistake and think that, and create some excuse about that, this is where we have to stop and think about our attitude in our life.
Yeah. No, I love it. There's a Buddhist teaching that comes to mind where it's basically like you could be the recipient of anger, and there's really kind of two components to it. There's kind of the outside world or other people, and then there's your own reaction to that other thing. And those are the kind of two components. And very often you can't control other people's things. A lot of times, whenever, you're on the receiving end of you're stupid, a lot of times you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That person's been on a journey. They had a really bad day. They might, be stressed out about something else entirely, and you just happen to be there.
I'm sorry for interrupting, just because I think that it's before we will go too far, because I think that one thing which we always forget, but I just discovered it from I think that it was Lenny's podcast or something, with some lady from Stanford, and she was talking about some behavioral actions from some different people. But she also said, like, we can control what do we say. We can't control what other people think. So we can ask them about what do you think, and then act proportionally to that. But usually, what is the main issue in communication between some people? That we act accordingly, not to the things or even actions, not even actions of some other people, but our thoughts about their thoughts.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous. Just every time when you do something, try to think about if it's not this moment, because I think that it's the most ridiculous stuff. And usually it happens between friends, relatives, or like husbands and wives, because it's so ridiculous. And there are so many problems because of that. I thought that you thought that I did, or what the heck? Just ask. Just ask. Sorry for interrupting, but it's like the third the part of this chain, which I never thought about that. And then I discovered, and I was like, yeah, I do that a lot. And I started every time when I feel some anger to my wife, and I feel like just recently, a few years ago, I stopped like, maybe I should ask her about that, just to validate my thoughts. And I started asking, and she's like, no, actually, I didn't think that, or I acted like that. I didn't know that it's valuable for you. Now I know, and in the future, I wouldn't do the same. Or no, I didn't mean that by saying that. And I was like, come on, it's just my thoughts about that. Let's talk to each other.
Yep.
Let's communicate.
Yep. Are your perceptions accurate? And the way to address it is to not, assume you can read somebody else's mind and instead check in with them and say, hey, this is where like good, healthy marriage stuff, like I'm feeling a little weird right now. Like, here's what's on my mind. How are you feeling about this? And then they clarify it, and then it becomes your job to say, oh, okay, they're speaking honestly. They didn't actually think that, and my perception was wrong. And it's just it's that's such like a beautiful habit to get out of, is that kind of attributing or feeling like we know what other people are thinking or doing, or and that we have the ability to control what other people are thinking and feeling.
Yeah, I think that for the relationship, for healthy relationship, it's really cool. But not only even to ask what did they mean, but also it's really important because I think that for me it sounds obvious because I act like that for a few years after I discovered. But at the same time, I discovered that it's strange that there are so many people who do not understand that. But it's also very important. It's basic but important to say if you feel something you have to say that. Some people say, oh, why didn't they do something? They had to know something about me.
Yeah,
Come on. Why
yeah,
can't you say that? What is like, oh, she's the bad person because she didn't think that I think like that. Come on. So we are angry at the people that they thought something or didn't think something. That it's insane. Let's talk to each other. Just like say, oh, it brings me pain. Please. It's not like, oh, you're bad that you brought me this pain. No. Maybe the person doesn't know that because
yeah,
it's inside of you and you do not say, especially for men, because we know that it's biological, that we can, it's hard for us to proclaim something. It's harder for us to say that we love. It's harder to just say about our emotions, especially if it's about pain or hard work or something. But maybe let's change that. Maybe especially, at least, okay, not especially, but at least with those people who we trust. So
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
wife, mom, dad, kid, just say like, look, I see a lot of families with the kids when they do not want to make the kids sad, and this kid is just throwing the stones literally to the person. They're like, but he is the kid. Come on, just say that. Do you like this small stone into your to your head? It's insane, and then this person wouldn't. He will grow up, and he wouldn't know that it's bad to throw the stones. He will say like, "But my dad said," and it's just because this person didn't want to say that he didn't want to harm the person. Yeah, harm, and the same about us. So if you live in the family, just say that without this. It's not the problem. Just calmly, just say like, "What do you think?" Because I think that it's like that.
yeah.
Communicate more calmly.
It's fascinating as you're saying all of this. I'm like realizing it's like, so you are from Eastern Europe and you're from Ukraine, and like, and this is maybe me stereotyping a little bit, but it's like I feel like Eastern Europe feels like yeah, men are harder, and we don't talk about feelings, and that's kind of like a weakness thing. So I think that what you're describing here maybe runs counter to some of the attitudes
I don't
in
think that it's about because recently I read the book. It had a lot of rewards because the lady who wrote it, she committed suicide after that in a while because she self-made man. I think that this is the name of the book. And the
okay,
girl, she decided to look like the man to live the man's life. And there are 6 chapters, and she went to some church as the priest, and she lived among the priests. Then she was the part of some bowling club, and she lived like the man between, like among these guys. Then she was the man who visited strippers, like strip club frequently, just to discover. So she went in the shoes of the men from different perspectives, and she discovered that girls really underestimate the pain which lives in the head of each man in the world. And I think that she was American. That's why it's not about Slavic guys, but it's just in general that's why that's why we usually die younger, not only because of some injuries, but also because of some harm that we overtake everything and we do not fear it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But again, Darwin said that it's evolution and we are the part of this process. We could say like, oh, we're the weakest and let's lie and die. But at the same time, we could be the strongest frogs who would go and be the strongest and bring some new genes to the next
Yeah.
population. Especially we can talk now, so we can bring and spread the knowledge much faster. We have
Yeah.
internet, so let's share this. Let's win this battle and share the results, share the process. I think that it's really important for us.
Yeah. No, I think that that's exactly right. It's like we're sort of crawling up Maslow's pyramid slowly but surely. And in a lot of cases, it feels like two steps forward and one step back for sure, especially in the kind of macro level sense. But it's like, I think that you're right, is that it's like there are these like generational things where we're kind of like chipping away at sort of some of these, hard earned or like more like evolutionarily, like maybe helpful traits. So it's like, I need to be a strong warrior man. And therefore, and I don't cry and all of those things, like all of that is worth, kind of challenging and evolving. It's a process, and it's an intergenerational process. And like, my daughter is 7 and I feel that every day, like how helping her sort of navigate the terrain of, this person said this, or I'm scared about this kind of coming up. It's like I could react with, suck it up or stop crying or whatever. Like, this isn't what it's there are a lot of these like kind of like decisions that kind of come into play where you're sort of helping people, especially offspring and stuff, like kind of have a better sense of emotional intelligence and be able to navigate a lot of that stuff that we're all subjected to, right? We all have these emotions and stuff, but it's like the idea of emotional intelligence is to be able to better understand those dynamics. Just exactly what you were saying earlier about, it's like fear is this thing. It happens to us. It's very, very deep in our reptile brains. It happens. It's a signal. It's something that we can learn to not react to at face value, but rather to sort of use as that signal, and then bring in your prefrontal cortex to say, oh, okay, that trigger just got tripped. What caused that? And to do that, like, do that work before you respond or act.
Yeah, because it's just the result. It's not the reason. It's the result of something. That's why I think that it's really important to understand that we don't need to stop crying when we want to cry, but we need to understand, go deeper and think like, why do we cry? I think, again, I want to again highlight, sorry for highlighting that always, that it's not that easy to talk to yourself and to find these reasons and to be frank with yourself and just to find. But at the same time, I think that there are plenty of helpers, because we usually think like, for example, some Eastern philosophical waves and like, as you said, like the Tao or like Zen or some other. Usually, I think that because of this Western society attitude, we think that, oh, it's religion, and I don't know, I'm against religions and so on, because we connect it in our thoughts to some Orthodox and some church or something. But at the same time, I discovered that most of them, they're philosophy which help you, like Bible for some people, like the moral stuff. How can you, and to build the informational architecture of the reasons and the results. It helped me a lot, especially when my cat died. He was a really strong friend of mine, and he died accidentally in 1 month before we were moving to Prague. And I was struggling. I was crying as I was 3 years old, but I was 35 or so, 32. And I was struggling. what helped me a lot, it's Stoicism. And I just started listening on Spotify. I don't remember the name of this channel, but it was some practical Stoicism. I think that is the name of that.
Yep.
And they just explain how to use it, not like the books, Socrates, and all of this stuff. It's cool as well when you will go want to go deeper. But how to understand this in your real life? How can you use it just at the same? And I just realized that there is no sense to cry when if you want, you can cry, but there is no sense to cry, especially as you said. So I am from Ukraine, and definitely the last 3 years, it's insane. Even I don't live there for 7 years, but it's my homeland. I have a lot of friends there, and I see every single day all of this news. I see it's unfair. I cried because not on the or because of the sorrow, but because of the unfairness. But then I just realized, will it help me somehow, these drops from my eyes? Instead, I need to solve it. So every time when this feeling which brought me tears, instead I used it to donate more money, for example, or to build education in our country, to change the life of some society, to let them bring the value back to the country, and so on and so forth. Instead, I don't stop myself when I watch some Nemo cartoon, I don't know, something, and some small cub comes to the mouth and something is sweet, or some Japanese anime without these harmful parts, without this revenge. They're so much more kind than Hollywood cartoons. And when they come, I cry like the baby because of the kindness of this situation, because I just realized, do I need to stop myself in this situation? No. And my wife sits like the stone and says like, why do you cry? Because it's so kind. Because I just realized that if the world will be acting in the same way, we will be much more happier. I
Yeah.
understand that without this anger, without these bad things which is happening in the world, there wouldn't be a balance, and we would not understand what is happiness. But at the same time, just you can use differently. I just want to highlight that use some supporters. Some people go to psychologist or some mentor or somewhere to coach. It's cool. My way was when I just read philosophy, I dived deep to philosophy, and it helped me. And I just built as I said, so these results and reasons. When you understand what is at the beginning, and you just try to label all of them, and then communicate with yourself. Why do you act like that? Why do you act differently? Sooner or later, you will act differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Stoicism is such a powerful philosophy and really feels durable, and it feels especially important in this moment in time. So it's good that it's like having, I feel like it's moment in the sun, but it's that it does help you get to a place where you're able to endure and live life and accept things as they come a bit more, versus again that sort of mirage or that sort of delusion of control, and that you can like train your mind to have more acceptance and to just kind of say, yep, like I could imagine myself, these things that I love in my life, these people that I love in my life, and one day they won't be here, or something is going to happen to me. And to be able to train and practice that attitude of just kind of non-attachment to these things, and to prepare yourself, makes the actual work, when that hard stuff does come your way, it doesn't take the reality away, but it does like help you endure it a little bit better, because you've kind of done this requisite work. That's how I've always kind of like viewed Stoicism, as this like, yeah, you're just kind of like practicing this thing that allows you to imagine a future without these things. You're able to sort of break. gratitude.
Let me disagree with you. I think that at this point, sorry, but I think that it's not the same as the gym, because in gym you just do repeatedly something, and that's how the muscles grow. Just because you do the same, the same, the same. If
Yeah.
in with Stoicism, it's different because it explains you that there is no any reason for you to act in this particular moment like that,
Yes.
because it's selfish. So
Yeah.
you have to act differently. So it's not like just to stretch your muscle to make it grow, but instead they explain that you are too selfish sometimes in some
Yes.
particular rules from Stoicism to act like that. So it's really cool to understand that they explain how your selfishness bring you bad feelings. So you are the reason, not the loss of
Yeah.
something, but your thoughts. And you can, in any case, it will happen. But it's also it's just one. And also, I want to drop you like just more positive things, because we're going. For us, it's positive, but for some people, they wouldn't understand us, I suppose. But once I met one of my favorite, I actually additional to philosophy, which helps me a lot through the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I think that humor, really cool humor, Monty Python, Mighty Bush, these like the stalactites of the humor. But at the same time, I really like Dylan Moran in the early age. And once I met this guy in the airport, he was drunk as so he was wasted, because previously one day before he had the concert in Prague, and I was like, oh, it's Dylan Moore. And I came to him, I had the can of beer, and I was like, man, you, Monty Python, Ricky Gervais, and Louis C.K., you brought me humor, like the sense of humor which I have now. And he said one phrase which is simple as the piece of paper, but at the same time, it was so strong, it changed my life. He said, like, take it easy, man. And like, no, 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 you don't understand. It's like, and he's like, he said once again, he's like, take it easy, man. And it's so every time since that moment, this simple phrase, every time when I feel stressed, I feel some disturbance of some situation, when I feel that it's heavy, I just, as with 1, 2, 3, when you are stressed, the same here, you say to yourself, just really fatty, take it easy, man.
Easy
I can
man.
promise you that it will never be the same. It will never be the same, the level of stress after this phrase was proclaimed in your phrase at the moment. It will help. Dylan Moran, if you will listen to that, thank you so much.
He's like, I don't remember saying that, but it changed your life. That's amazing.
If I did, why not?
That's incredible. And that's also, I feel like, a testament of like just these just kind of passing moments, and these like little interactions can have like a really profound ripple effect. I want to come back to, and it's boy, oh boy, it's taken a while to get here, but I love how you have said about how crying for your homeland and the injustice and the unfairness of what the Ukrainian people are going through, what all of these, this part that's such a hard and in deep part of who you are. But I love how you are sort of talking about how you're able to sort of translate that kind of emotional response and that kind of feeling that like on its own is just tears on the ground, but it sounds like you're really able to, and you said it earlier, I really love how you said it, to like allow those emotions to like serve as your sail to sort of like translate that very sort of like those painful emotions into action. Could we talk more about that?
Sure, sure. I'm here. I don't think that I can be the teacher here, but instead I'm the pupil here because, as I said, so I live abroad for 7 years, and but as I said, so I'm really patriotic because instead of lullabies in my childhood, I was raised without the father, so he left when I was 5. But till that moment, I still remember that instead of lullabies, he read me some stories about Cossacks, about some ancient Ukrainians, and so on. And he brought this patriotic stuff to my life, and he brought me a lot of knowledge regarding that this war was happening for a long period of time with our neighbor who appeared just late, and we were not surprised that it will happen because we don't trust our neighbor. But what I was talking about, that I'm the pupil of the Ukrainian nation currently, and they are insane. Unfortunately, I can't go now because of the law to Ukraine. But my wife, she sometimes she goes there. Sometimes our friends come to our place. We invite them to have some time together. My mom goes back and forth because she moved I moved her to Prague. But every time when I listen to that, it's insane. So all of my team of my project, they work there, and it's insane because every single month there are few cafes in the capital, in some other cities, in the even the big city Kharkiv, which is really close to frontline. They clean the streets every single day. They renovate parks. They, I don't know, open the new offices. Sometimes there were plenty of cases when the missile was dropped close to some cafe. The windows are crashed. Half of the cafe is crashed. They take half of the day. Could you imagine? Half of the day break, and in the evening they open it with the wood instead of the windows, and they put the marker, "We are open," and people come and buy the stuff from their places. There are plenty of people who get their education, open the new companies, open the new cafes, salons, because Ukrainian nation, they said like, okay, we understand what they're doing with us. They would like to break us by just saying, oh, we can't take it anymore. That's why it's the only weapon that they can't take from us. We will say like, get out of here. We will not only survive, but we will live our life. You are angry on us because you don't have life that we have. So go to hell. We will show you that we are stronger than that. That's why sooner or later, I don't have any doubts that we will win by this huge price, unfortunately, but we were not united as we are for a long period of time. Again, unfortunately, with this price, but it brings us a lot of new thoughts. Most of the Ukrainians changed their attitude about, they proclaim that they don't want, because some part of the people, I think that minority, but still, they still were thinking like, oh, maybe we should turn to that side of the world. Maybe they are close to us. Now we're 100% sure that we know our way, and it will take a lot of blood, sweat, time, but we will reach that.
Yeah. Oh my God. But I think that this like ties in really well to what we've been talking about is that there's just been this almost extremely hard earned clarity around like what matters in life. And it's the cafe, it's school, it's like doing hard and important work and sort of like building a life, and they're doing that in the face of real violence, which is like the most, I think, inspiring thing in the world. We're all kind of like, like watching this take place. And so you just describing the attitude like on the ground that these people are exhibiting is so inspiring. And it's around, I feel like it's like around like action, and coupled with it this positivity, right? Like it's that attitude, and the attitude is everything. Because if you were to sort of revert to hopelessness or despair or whatever, then that's kind of what you're sounding like. Well, that's what they want. That's how they win. And so it's like really this building a life despite literal bombs falling on cities.
Yeah, and it's happening every single day. So it could sound we can watch. So, for example, we take the vacation. We do not watch during the vacation. We said to ourselves, "Oh, I wouldn't watch the news." And it seems to you that finally it stopped. But it's happening every single day. Every time when my parents-in-law or my friends they come to Prague, I try to bring them to drink some good beer or to eat some good meat or something else, to some Czech park. But first of all, they are glad because they can sleep well, because there are no sirens, there are no bombs, there are no missiles during the every single night. So, and you don't know, will you wake up alive or not? Or you will die today. You can imagine the reaction of people who come from Ukraine. For the first 3 days, they see the airplane, because the sky is closed in Ukraine for the last 3 years. They are scared. If they hear some helicopter or the sound of these stupid guys with these Porsche cars without silencer, I just don't understand these guys as well. But then they calm down a bit and they appreciate the life and they don't want to come back just for a few days just to sleep. But at the same time, what I really like in the topic of our discussion, what I took from them, because we're really grateful and we really are thankful to all the nations, to the US nation, with all the support, with money, with support when they go with the flags and so on, to European nations. But at the same time, we understand that still we're in this state, we still lose the people, we'll still lose the cities every single day. And it came to our head that no one will help us except us. So if we will be united and if we will have this attitude in our head that only us could help us, until then we will stay alive. So if everyone will disappear, so tomorrow, especially now, so it doesn't matter. So everything is changing every single day because it's politics. And they just think about their votes and so on. We understand that. But if tomorrow all the help will decline, we will stay here. So we need to think today, how can we be helpful instead of thinking and blaming, I don't know, Trump or some other guy. Oh, he didn't help us. No, we need to rely on ourselves, first of all. And I think that it's really important because we have to use this rule in our everyday life subjectively, just for us. No one. We can talk about how my mom damaged me in the childhood, or my wife, she doesn't believe in me or something. It's bullshit. Just try to live your life and be the first responsible person for your life. It will help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's really a lot there, and it's accurate. It's like obviously, yeah, you welcome help, you welcome other people's support, but ultimately, like at the end of the day, yeah, you're responsible for your own life, for your own fate in a lot of ways, and it's like that's playing out at a national stage. But I love how you're like tying it back to the individual self. Is yeah, you can blame and pity and the rest of it, but it really is like you're here and this stuff is real. And I think that that's like what I'm really excited to talk to you about through this, because it's like I feel like the whole first part of our conversation is about cultivating this like real, like not just like, oh, we're surviving and we're like limping along, but like really, like I think kind of thriving. Meanwhile, like
Yeah.
this is the backdrop for you and your country and the people you care about, for your students, for your colleagues, for your family, and all of like that stuff. And so I feel like I think that that's like when I was like, oh, I need to talk to Mike on this, is like, because I think that so many people are like, well, Brad, yeah, you're talking about positivity and excitement and happiness and optimism and hopefulness. And it's like, meanwhile, there's like war happening and stuff like that. And when I first met you, I'm like, here's a fellow traveler. You're also like from this place that's like just directly you're confronted by this in a way that I certainly am not, and also a lot of the people who say this kind of stuff are not. So it's like, I would love, could you like speak to that juxtaposition, I guess, of it's like, here's this like tragic reality happening and has been playing out for these years. And then here's you, despite it all, living life a certain way, cultivating community, cultivating like positivity, waving to people. Like, could you like talk about that dynamic and like how you see as they relate? I'd love to hear just like how you think about this stuff and how, despite the very real reality, you are still operating in this really inspired way.
Yeah, it's a cool question, but at the same time, I want to highlight once again that it would be really not honest from myself if I would say that I feel the same as people who are in Ukraine, because I talk to these people every single day. Sometimes they apologize, some of my colleagues, that I don't know, like they were late, 30 minutes late to the call because there was no internet, because the missile just was dropped to some satellite or something. I don't know. So it happens. That's why I do not want even to pretend that I understand how is to live there. So because I moved before the war, but at the same time, I have a lot of experience because we at the beginning of the war we started our NGO, so we started foundation. And we gathered some money, some donations together to give some scholarship to Ukrainian women refugees who were forced to leave their homes because of the war. And currently, I think that more than 5,500 women, Ukrainian women, got this education. And why I raised this topic? Because my wife, she was the teacher of one of the courses for these women. And she said before that she had some courses for people who paid for these courses. It was with scholarships. And by my practice in the past, when people get something for free, they take it much less valuable. Instead, these girls, they were so hard working. And after that, I met a lot of girls there, here or there, because and they say, oh, I finished this one. I know one girl who moved to Switzerland. She got the scholarship of graphic design at our institute. She finished that, accomplished few projects for some clients. Then she established her studio, and now she has the successful studio of graphic design and marketing in Switzerland. So it's not like in some country where there is no competition in this field.
Yeah.
She opened that. I have few ambassadors of our community who also, they moved somewhere. They got senior position already through these 3 years. They got senior position abroad at some new company with some new language, with everything, just finishing the course for free, which could they take okay, I didn't accomplish that, so whatever. Another story is that we have plenty of, not plenty, there are not so, but we have in total, I think that about 700 teachers, our mentors on our courses in general. And I think that at least 10 of them, and we have, I think that 3 or 4 members of our team, core team of Projector, who are on the front line. I have few friends who are frontline, so I send them money. And we have teachers who teach, and they say okay, oh, I'm sorry, I will be late again, for 15 minutes because they are bombarding us. So we have to shut down the internet not to be detected, for example. And then could you imagine, they teach? Or I have the student, now I'm the teacher of the course, and I have the student. And in the middle of the course, he said okay, there was some document and I signed it. I went to the army. So the next few months, I will try to accomplish all the home tasks. But I'll do my best. And now he works as part of the team of the project of this course. And he accomplished all the tasks. So there are no complaints from his team about that. That's why I raised all of these topics, because it inspires me a lot. I can't just sit and say okay, it's their war, I don't live there anymore. I think that it's not even because I'm close to there, because Europe is small. It's just about come on, it's not the war between Ukraine and Russia. It's the war between the truth and just some evil part of the world. Because if it will be destroyed, what's next? It won't stop. That's why it inspires me to work. It inspires me to do something new. I totally believe that it's part of my life. So, for example, we also established the fully non-commercial, not commercial, but non-profitable. In 2 weeks after the war started, mentorship platform, because we have teachers, we have people, our alumni who need some mentorship session. So we just connect them for 1 hour. We have no zero income from that, but we have small team, and the mentee chooses the amount of money which they decide to donate to the army. And when we get the message from the battle forces that by our drones, which were bought by these like money, by these donations, were destroyed 2 pieces of really expensive tanks or some other techniques, I understand as the mentor that I did something right. So I gave the right knowledge to mentee, which gave some new push in their life, some new real knowledge, some education. This person decided not to sit and say, like, okay, it's the war, I wouldn't do anything. But they decided to donate and take this mentorship itself. And as the result, we did something to win this war. That's why it's impossible. The world is too small to be aside of that. Sometimes we have to have the vacation. We have to stop thinking about that, especially we have this opportunity. There are a lot of argues in Ukraine. Can some people go to some party? Can we even start some parties? I don't know, some festivals. If we have the guys who are on front line protected, but then the guys from frontline, most of them, they come and say like, yes, do something for us, help us, work, donate, work and pay taxes. Do not allow corruption appear on the streets of Kiev because we don't fight for that. But at the same time, also from time to time, if you feel that reasonable, if you are not parasitized by that, just do something, because if you will always live in these thoughts of war, you will die because of desperate. I think that it's really important to also understand.
Yeah, my God, there's so much there. The people at the front line almost like giving permission. It's like, yeah, like you need to continue to have festivals and like enjoy like and live life, because like we need to be reminded of that, which is amazing. But then also, I think that like you did such a beautiful job, I think, of articulating the way that you and your organization and your network and everything that you've cultivated over the years, you're able to really make a difference from where you're at, and to help people, not just like, yeah, you're giving them like knowledge and the ability to kind of go stand on their own 2 feet and have their own success, which is really critical, but also like, yeah, you're able to draw a through line between like work that you're doing and the actual like sort of effort to combat this invasion. It's like, holy smokes, that is, it's a lot there. How do I take everything that I have, like what you've put together, all of that hard work that you've been working on well before, right? Like well before the war, so that whenever it like kind of came, you had like foundations in place, you had people in place, and you were able to kind of like turn some other things on and point some energy and effort in a way.
But actually, we didn't have a foundation before, so we established few products before. But I think that we can even use the same topic, because you see that you highlight that it's like Ukrainian war and me, but at the same time, there are wars, not even like the real wars, but I mean, there are fights and places to be helpful for each person in this life. Why I really adore Don Norman. I really like this guy. This guy is, I don't know, like he's 89 or 90 years old or even more. And he's so active. And I remember once he was our guest at the conference in Kiev before the war. and people were clapping their hands for, I don't know, like 15 minutes standing because he had the lecture regarding the responsibility of designers, managers, those guys who take some decisions and some stakeholders and so on. I think that it's extremely important and about how responsible you are, what you do, and how do you do that. I don't
Mhm.
understand some people who go. They get the education and after that they go to some gambling, for example, and build some casinos. Why? Excuse me. So you have the choice. Are you the slave or these two extra thousand or 20, 30, 50, $200,000, they will help you to live the better life? Let's be frank. Instead, you can, I don't know, do some useful stuff, change something. I don't know, in politics, in the ocean, in environment, in behavior, in the war. For example, now a lot of people they drop their jobs in Ukraine and they start building drones. Okay, some people could say that it's the weapon, but it's protective weapon. We are not those guys who attacked someone. And if we will stop building these drones, we will die. We will just simply disappear from the map. And that's it. That's why they decide to do that. And even more, in the future, there are a lot of countries who would like to buy these drones to protect themselves, to prevent something, to prevent the attack and the death of other people. That's why they do some cool stuff. In any case, you have to be responsible for what you are doing in your life. And if you can do, and each of us, we can do something, we can volunteer at some, I don't know, some shelter once per month. If you feel that you can bring that instead of, I don't say that drop everything, stop drinking alcohol or at least beer, do not do anything joyful, and do only help this world and blame other people who do not. But just try to be useful to this world, even if you don't believe. You know, a lot of people they say, "Oh, this world is just pile of garbage," and I don't believe in that. I would like. I'm the same person actually. I don't like the humanity that much because humanity is just getting more and more stupid in most of that, and they are more and more angry, and they can the confrontation between each other. I think that it's too heavy, but at the same time I try to raise a lot of people around me, the students, some colleagues, I don't know, to listen to some clever people, to bring like you with some workshops, lectures, to bring Don Norman and spread this word and to solve it somehow. So I hate and do at the same time.
And that's the dynamic. I love what you're saying because it's like you're touching on our responsibility, but then there's also just the not allowing yourself to just kind of be resigned to look at here's stupid people doing stupid things and you could just kind of stew in that resentment and bitterness, and we see that writ large. I think that what you're describing is like your very active resistance is to cultivate these healthier ways of being and to sort of spread knowledge and to spread like positivity and to like create opportunities and to like, and that's a really important service you're doing and your organization's doing, and everybody that's a part of it, they're all part of a mission to make things better, which is like the spirit of design. It's like you're being very productive with it, and coming along for the ride is this positive outlook. And again, all the way back to the beginning of our conversation is like the fun, like who'd actually think that yeah, participating in the front lines and contributing to that, you could also have fun while doing it. And it sounds like you are, and the mentors and the mentees and everyone associated with your organization, it's like you're cultivating a culture that isn't just like you're all stone faced like, okay, we need to do this. It sounds like you're really like fostering a community with this ethos kind of at its core, which is tremendously inspiring. It's amazing. Really amazing.
But also, I would like to highlight that also, which just to add a few things about the collaboration, about the power of collaboration, because I think that a lot of people, they do not want to start doing something active. They don't want just to act because they think, oh, I don't have experience there. I need to start it from scratch. I have some other priorities and so on. Just find someone or some organization, just help someone. You don't need to be alone and to start something from scratch, but just try to be useful. That's it. If you will have this wish, I'm sure that you will find the way how to fulfill this gap in your life, because I'm sure that we can do something better together. That's how we always act. A lot of people say, but we're a competitor. So like, oh, why do we need to help you? What will be the beneficial for us? For sure, we are in evolution. We are in this like spiral of developing the world, and the world itself is like growing and so on. But at the same time, just think what can you bring to other people, and how can you make something better? I always say that it doesn't matter how good you are in, I don't know, like making windshields for the cars. Wouldn't build a cool car. It will consist only of windshields. You need to find some person who are cool in tires, someone who builds the cool doors, and so on and so forth. Sorry, I don't have the car. That's why the examples are so stupid. But at the same time, so it's the same. So just try to collaborate. Actually, we discovered once that the best product, because under the roof of our institute, we have different products. As I say, it's this like platform. Also, we have publishing house. We have some startup, hiring startup, and so on. But at the same time, we just discovered that the best products with the best results and the best emotional results were when we invited some people to be the co-creators of that. When we invited some other, it doesn't matter, ambassadors, some guys, some other community, some our other institute, and we created something when we had just some fun of creating that. And also we involve some other people and let them be the part of that. Come on, we are the small institute like from Ukraine, which we established with my colleague, and there were two of us, and then the third was my wife, because I just trusted her, and we like, oh, we needed to do that in Rush for $2, like something, and she became our manager. And then we had some collaborations. Once we had the event together at Berkeley University. It was Projector in Berkeley for raising money for building the university in Ukraine. I had some collaboration with Stanford University. We collaborated with Google, Meta. Come on, I know Don Norman, I know you, I know Luke Rublovsky. So it's just because I believe that I just text some people. And you the same. You could see it. You wrote the book, which is really famous, right? So you created the system which is used by all the products in the world. You could sit in your chair and say, like, come on, I will be drinking coffee, mate, or what do you drink? But at the same time, you decide, like, no, I see some people are unhappy in this world. I need to invite some guys. I need to share some of my knowledge, and some people will listen to that, and it will change their life. This is how we should act. Believe in yourself, be clear with your thoughts, be honest with yourself, and just go ahead and help other people and think how can you collaborate to bring joy to your life and to the life of some other people. Otherwise, you will die.
That's beautiful. I think you just put a real bow. That might be how we end, because I think that you just like perfectly like brought everything together in like one. It's collaboration, it's community, it's knowing yourself, it's a responsibility from wherever you're at in the world, or whatever your skills are, wherever like the people and the opportunities in your horizon. And yeah, do something great with it, and have fun while doing it. And that isn't just like a trivial platitude, but really like kind of a real kind of driver or engine behind it all. Collaboration is fun. Creativity is fun. Working with other people, getting into the stew. That's where the magic happens, is you have all of these people coming from all of these different perspectives in life, and you show up to solve a problem together, to make something cool together. And it's like this, it's such a beautiful thing that we need more of. So I love all the work that you're doing. So keep it up. Could you share with everybody just like where they could learn more about you and your institute and everything that you have going on?
Oh, we have such a complicated name because we are Projector Institute, but we have only projector.com. Just find me on LinkedIn, because I think that it wouldn't be that useful if you will see just output through the website. Just if you have some ideas, if you would like to collaborate, if you would like to build something, because we have few communities now, we're growing community, offline, non-commercial community for all the product people, creative and tech, we call that. And we already have in Los Angeles, we will have the first event soon in San Francisco. We already have a goal in Miami, New York. So we will be growing in Canada as well. We have already 3 cities. That's why we have some new playground for us to collaborate, but we are open for everything, educational programs, some events at your office, or let's do some fun together. Yeah. I think that it's the main, because we forgot to mention one stuff, just the last point about the collaborations, that don't forget that it's not only fun, but it's useful, because in collaboration, you get some knowledge which you didn't have from another part, which is amazing. It's free knowledge.
Yes, it's beautiful. And then the last question for you, so thank you for all of that, is what music do you want more people to know about?
You know, I think that it's not about the music itself. I really like classical music when I need to relax, especially Chopin and Bach. I think that these guys, and Schubert, okay, 3 of them. Mozart is cool as well, but he is too over... I think that too many people know him. So I think that it's overpopular. But at the same time, I don't want to bring more credits to his side. But I think that I would like to recommend another stuff, not the music itself, but the way of listening to that. I really highly recommend you to put Alexa or some other with voice controlled, some speaker, to your shower room, to your bath, to your water closet, where you take the shower. Because it's so cool, you don't need to use your fingers, especially when you are inside of the shower. So you don't need to press anything, just voice. And it's just according to your mood, which means that you balance your mood with the music. So it happens to me. So I start with Eminem and end up with Linkin Park. Or I start with, I don't know, Kanye West and listen and finish with Schubert. So it changes, but it's so cool, because I think that music, I think that that's why you have this question, because it's such a strong supporter for our mood. That's why do you need to, because you know, sometimes you turn on your phone and then you take the shower, it's in the next room, and like, okay, I will finish with this. And your mood changed, or it was wrong song. In this case, it's such an amazing, it's like hammock and foldable chair. It's must have in the bathroom. It's really amazing. You won't recognize your life after that.
Amazing. That's such great advice. I'm gonna set up. I think I actually have like an old one that we don't have plugged in, so I'm gonna give it a shot. But it's fantastic, because it's the shower is this kind of like meditative place, and it is like kind of a place where you're more present and you're kind of just there in your head. And so I feel like having that soundtrack there can help sort of shape your thoughts in that moment. That's really fascinating.
Or you can meditate, because again, you are not particularly locked in some shapes. You are unlocked, you are unzipped. So like you control your life, but not the music controls your life.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for that. And thanks for being on the show, for going deep into all sorts of different areas and topics. And thanks everybody for listening. So care.
Thank you. Be positive, and it was wonderful for me to be here. Thanks.